Hiya, John.
Good morning, RL. Hi, everybody. Before we get started, I'd like to do a very overdue honoring. As some of you know, Nelda, as well as Cynthia Carr, are our newest prayer practitioners. And we graduated them this spring, and it's a long journey. It's 4 years of classwork, and it is being a prayer practitioner in Science of Mind or Centers of Spiritual Living is a licensed position that Centers of Spiritual Living issues the license and keeps track of all those. And Nelda's paper license actually came in. So Nelda, I want to honor you and thank you so much. Anything we can celebrate this last year, I'm all for. So here we are. I would say that this week in particular, we turned a page in history. And all of us may have our own opinions, judgments of how positive or possibly not positive in your opinion that is. But there's no disputing that we turned a page. And as we turn a page in the world and in our life, it's a time for a couple things. For one, like the overall topic today is looking forward. So what does the future bring? And at the same time, before we can truly move forward, there is an introspection that needs to happen of, well, how did we get here? And what happened along the way? And what did we learn? Now, in a perfect world, and I don't know if this exists, but in my fictional mind-perfect world, you take a period of time and luxuriate in your going within and analyzing what happened, and then finally you can come out of a retreat mode and move forward. We don't have that luxury, I think, right now. There's a lot of things that need to happen in our country and the world to move us forward, especially things around our pandemic and things. So I don't think we have the luxury of going to a group retreat anywhere. But we do have to do both. And so I want to talk about what are these two things that we need to do. And first of all, in looking forward, what does our future hold? And this is a time, in my opinion, where we reacquaint ourselves with vision. And of course, vision is, I don't know, it's a word that's been so used and misused and underused and overused that we're not even sure what that is. And I think oftentimes we confuse the word vision with visualization. And we really love visualization. Visualization is coming up in your mind of what your life should be, where it should be, what car you should drive, what career you should have. And you might visualize those pictures in your mind as a process of bringing that concrete existence into your life. Vision is quite different. Visioning is bringing forth larger themes and ideas that our lives should be based on. And knowing that it doesn't matter necessarily as much of what the physical manifestation of that is, but always checking back, does this physical manifestation, is it part of coming forth with this larger vision, this larger idea? And certainly with our country, the larger vision and idea is freedom. Now, we've never fully realized the vision, but it is that vision that is constantly calling us, in a sense. So it's when we are, especially in times of turmoil, we have to go back to, okay, what is this original vision that has called us for so many years, and this vision of freedom? And how can we, as we say, make a more perfect union or compact with this idea of vision? So I think right now it's absolutely the perfect time to say, what is that vision with all the division in our country with different ideas and how that should be? But I think we could start to begin to agree that there is a common vision based on freedom. And again, people think that's so different, but in many different ways, in different manifestations, but that is where you should start. But even more so, a vision should excite you. So I wrote a bit on my article this week, my blog, about how I saw vision in a different way. So this week also I watched a 2-minute video by our community spiritual leader for all the Centers of Spiritual Living, Reverend Edward Villion. And actually, Edward is amazing. I've known him for many years, and he's been also the senior minister of the Centers of Spiritual Living in San Jose. And since everything is online now, I'd say tune him in. He's amazing. Santa Rosa Center of Spiritual Living. Anyways, so Edward has an amazing way of verbalizing things, and that's why I love to listen to anything that he says or records. And I was ready for this insightful 2 minutes about our topic this week of looking ahead. And on his lap was a puppy. And I'd like to say that I immediately was brought into the spiritual aspect of what Edward was saying, but quite frankly, I just wanted to see the puppy. And in fact, I watched it about 2 times just watching the puppy, because the puppy was very elusive. Like, you couldn't see his face through the whole thing, and every once in a while he'd like pop up, and like, oh, there's the puppy. I mean, isn't this what we do with our lives online these days? We're looking for kitty and puppy pictures all the time. And so I'm just, and the puppy squirming and this, and finally by the 3rd time I said, okay, I can't watch the puppy anymore. I have to listen to Reverend Edward, which I did and got some great things from it. But vision is like a puppy. So if you love dogs, and I think many of us do, and I don't know if you can replace this for cats because they make us work for things a little bit more than dogs do. But so if you get a new puppy or you adopt an adult dog, immediately your body chemistry changes. That when you look at your new little friend you've invited into your house, suddenly you realize amazing possibilities. You now have a hiking buddy for many years to come. You now have a napping buddy after the hike for many years to come. That you think, again, the possibilities of this wonderful bright light that's coming into your family, into your household. And if you've ever wondered what unconditional love is, look into the eyes of a puppy. I mean, really, instantaneously, if you thought love was elusive in your life, look in the eyes of a puppy or a dog that you've just adopted. And it is there, and it is solid, and it is long-lasting. And of course, as some of you know, my dog Gracie is 14. And she is slowing down a lot, but boy, that bond of love is so special and so deep and so amazing. So vision is like looking at your new puppy, imagining possibilities. So when we talk about a vision for our country or for your life or your family or anything, you should be able to elevate a sense of feeling around something like love or companionship that just, opens your heart and shifts your soul in some way. That a vision is just not a sentence placed in a business when you walk in, when we used to go into businesses anyway. That it is this overarching idea that once you think of it, it brings you to that spot. And if you're having trouble with this idea in your own life of what would be so compelling, again, think of something like your pet and how that uplifts you. That's what a vision is supposed to be. So it's not supposed to be about specific things that happen, so to speak, but about it's this larger inspirational idea. That's why I think it's a time for vision in our country right now. That to kind of lift ourselves out of so much that we've experienced and come back to this vision of why did we start this idea of what they call the American experiment well over 200 years ago. But in that, we at the same time have to reevaluate. And that can be sometimes a little bit more difficult. And sometimes a little bit more elusive. That, maybe it may even seem like we're too close to some events right now. To kind of say, and it's not just looking at what went on in the country or what my neighbor was doing, but what was I personally doing? How did I personally react these last few years of everything and so many things going on in our world? How did I show up as my best self? How did I show up as not my best self? And all the different shades of gray in between. To really, before that, and before going forward and embracing vision, to really think, okay, how did I get to this spot right now? And so here's what I got from Reverend Edward once I got past the puppy. He said that 4 questions that we should ask ourselves as we are reevaluating, which was so wonderful. He said, what have we gained? What have we lost? What have we mourned? And what have we been delighted by? I mean, really compelling questions. So if you have been in a difficult period of your life, or we have communally been in a very difficult period in world history, it's often we go right to a couple of these questions of what have we lost and what are we mourning? Because if it's a difficult time, our mind often goes first to loss. Things that we don't see anymore. And particularly, having lost 400 Americans to the pandemic, I don't know how long it's going to take for us to truly face that staggering amount of loss. We are still in it. Hundreds of people dying a day. So I don't know if we're really to the point that we can just say, now it's time for us to mourn. So this is going to be a generational thing for us to work through. So it's not like we do our little work and poof, move ahead. It's going to be a while, and to be with this and to look at what we have given up. But the thing is, what have we lost? Sometimes loss is actually good. It's like, I think as we reevaluate this now and as through the months and years, we'll say, what took me so long to lose that thing? What took me so long to give that thing up? Or what took me so long to give up that need for a certain thing to be in a certain way? I mean, we have, in a sense, released doing things in the quote-unquote normal way on all levels, but I think we'll come back and go, thank God. Thank God I let go. Now I have the excuse. It's funny, I was talking to Reverend Jill, I think this was a few months ago. There will be a time that we open up our sanctuary and we'll come back and we'll have people here. And we thought, it will have been so long that we could make a completely new service and nobody would know because it's been so long. And things that we have been wanting to do for years because people are just holding on to this little thing. It'll be like, oh no, actually, this is the way it's always been. So think of it. We always do this behind the scenes. So things that we can start to get excited by, I don't have to do that anymore. And I think that's amazing. So the thing that we think is lost can turn into what has been gained, in a sense. But there's something else in here, though, that's in the mix that I was reading about this week. To not fall into what a term created by a Buddhist teacher and psychologist named John Wellward, and he has this phrase that he calls spiritual bypassing. Really interesting idea. That on one hand, you don't want to get stuck in the muck, into the negativity of our life, but at the same time, you don't want to paint it over and pretend it's not there. So there's a balance there as we are working to release, to not get stuck, but at the same time, not to pretend it never happened. And he said that phrases that we use into spiritual bypass might be in the time of just great despair to say, well, it's all good, it's all God, so I have nothing to be concerned about. Well, it is all good, and it is all God, and sometimes you need a little time to get there. And for me personally, maybe you've had this happen before, that I might have shared over the years with someone of just something that was really difficult I was going through, and I'm working out, and they'll go, yeah, but John, it's all good and it's all God. And it's like, I'm not ready for that yet. I have a journey to go. I know that it's all good and all God, but I need to be with this for a while, not to get stuck, but as a way to kind of dismantle it and look at it and look at my own behavior and other people's actions within this and just say, well, what is this really about? And I will come out to it's all good and it's all God. And I know it right now, but I can't cut that off right now. So there's a lot for us to look at within ourselves. And I'm saying, don't cut it off too soon. There is things that we need to just chew on. And again, like the pandemic, there'll be things that we actually need to chew on for quite a while. And to me, I think that is a positive thing, that you can know that it's all good and all God and still look at it, still examine it, still be with it. And I know that sometimes we say it's all good and all God, especially even to other people, that we're at a loss how to react to someone's pain. That we think we have to say something. We think that we have to give a positive spin on something when they're in a point of great grief or anxiety. And sometimes the best thing is just not to say anything. Really, just be there. A pat on the shoulder or a hand on a knee of someone that you care about often is the thing. So part of this introspection, let's not spiritually bypass. We have downloaded a tremendous amount of things to learn and process over these last few years. And it's going to take a while. We can still move forward. We can still have great vision, but let's not bypass the process. They say that life or karma is like a merry-go-round. Until you learn the lesson, you keep on going around. Let's slow down the merry-go-round. Let's actually get off the merry-go-round. And let's be present with what's happening at the same time of looking forward. In Edward's questions here, the fourth one at first had me stumped. What have you been delighted by? Delighted's not a word I've used a lot this last year. In fact, it's not been a word I've used a lot in quite a long time. And I just thought, delighted? And of course, it'd be so easy to, you could probably join me, go on a rant of things that we aren't delighted with right now and things that we've been needing to experience to work through this. But if you really think about it, there are small and large things that have just brightened your day and your life. I have a great story that I believe I told last June, and it's a perfect time to retell it. First of all, the overall thing that has delighted me this year is that I have performed in 2020 about 24 weddings. And it was just like this amazing bit of normalcy of people coming together for a larger vision of their life to form a new family and to go forward. And these were all either no guests or 10 or less and all outside. Most of the weddings happened on the beach at Redfish Lake. Or my other favorite spot, and I'll even tell you where it is. It's my secret wedding spot, that if you go into Lower Stanley, there is a little back road called Nip and Tuck Road, and you go up in about 10 minutes, and it takes you on this overlook of the Sawtooth that is amazing. So these weddings, most of them have been at Redfish on the beach or on this overlook of Sawtooth. Talk about it being delighted. But there's this one wedding in particular that I want to tell you this story again. So I was in contact with them right in the middle of our shutdown or quarantine in spring, when we had no idea what was going on. We had no idea how people were passing on infection. So we just closed everything down, as you recall. And they live on the East Coast, and they were determined to have their ceremony. But it was second marriages for both of them, the couple, a male and female, and they were 40-ish, and between them there were 4 kids, starting from about like 11 to 15. And it meant so much to them to make a statement for their future, to form their family in this ceremony. And it was really important for them to do it in Idaho. And so we just talked a couple, phone calls of how we're going to make this happen during quarantine. So they got an RV, and they made a 2,000-mile trip across the country, staying at remote locations along the way, and to make their way to Idaho. And that day of their wedding was amazing. We met and talked a little bit in the morning, but that moment that they all came out, took these amazing outfits in their RV across the country, but just kind of arriving with the kids on the beach. And we had created a ceremony that the vows were for everybody, for the whole family. And oh my God, I mean, Harrell's crying already. The second we all got on our beach, dressed the way we said we were going to dress, and the positions that we were, we just all started crying. I mean, it was just this amazing moment. Talk about vision for your life. It was, again, I was delighted. as Reverend Edward would say. And I can't tell you how that experience has just warmed and opened my heart as through this year that we've all had moments of, how are we going to make it through this thing? And I think of this great family in their RV saying, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it in Idaho. So that's vision. That's part of this mix of the good, bad, and indifferent of this time that for us to look at. And so it's important as we look ahead to take these great moments from the past and bring them to right now. And it just, I don't know about you, but I've learned a lot of good things this year. I've learned about the goodness of people, this deep well of goodness, in spite of so many people just losing their minds. There is this well of goodness. I've learned so much that within Science of Mind, this idea that intentional and positive thought and belief is so much more powerful than negative thought. That it may seem a while to get through the negative, but you get there sooner or later. And it is so much more power in that it creates, and that the negativity can't help but collapse upon itself. That's more of what I've learned in this year. And we kind of just topped it off this week as I'm talking about vision and looking ahead, as Nelda mentioned already, Amanda Gorman, and her name of her poem, The Hill We Climb. Now, she is the first youth poet laureate for our country, and let's remind ourselves what this position is, the poet laureate for the United States. Many of our presidents in the last several times around in the modern era have had a poet laureate. A poet laureate is not to speak to the agenda of a particular party or a particular president. A poet laureate's job is to speak to the vision of the country. So I would hope that anyone could have watched Amanda Gorman and put whatever beliefs you have aside and just look at her as our representative of vision. That's her job. So I just want to close today just reading two short passages. She said, "We are far from polished, far from pristine. But that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us. We close the divide because now we put our future first." And she closed this wonderful poem with, "The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it." This can be one of the most exciting, amazing times of our lives in our country if we see it and if we allow it. So let's just go within. First, let us give thanks together for all that we category as good, for all that we category as bad, as all that we categorize as I haven't a clue. And you know, ultimately it is all good and all God. But within this goodness, we look within. We analyze and look at what is within our hearts, within our minds, within our country right now. And we do allow ourselves to reflect, to contemplate, to take a good look at ourselves. Where have we done well? Where would we like to do better? And know that, yes, it is ultimately all good and all God. And I know that as we come together with this true commitment to do our best, to see the presence of the divine in all things, and to certainly look within and look at what has transpired for all of us, that amazing things happened. That we can express our thanksgiving and gratitude now in advance, because we know that we have turned a corner and turned a page and looking forward and upward to a higher vision of who we are and who we already are. And so within this, with all vision, we embrace it and we let it go. We let it do its work. We let it mingle into every nook and cranny of our lives and become manifest. And in this, we just say, and so it is.